Hello, everybody. Welcome to another video here on my YouTube. Doing like a little live video here for everybody on here. This is usually like something I do sometimes, like when I do predictions, like NFL predictions, like um NFL like week 1, 2, and 3. I apologize. I have not been doing like the week NFL predictions because I've been forgetting about them because I've been working and also um spending time with my girlfriend Christine as well, who I do have one here on my phone. And
Hello.
yeah, hello to the person that commented in the thing here, comment thing. Hello, nice to have you in here. Um, yeah, so I apologize. I just haven't really been getting back to them because of the fact I've just been focusing on other things. But yeah, but also yeah, I am trying to get back into them, but we're up to like week 6 or 7 right now in the NFL, which I really, you know, I sometimes do them on Facebook. Like I'll write on there what teams will win and all that stuff and the score prediction and all that. But yeah, so I also entitled this video the 1990s because been like just talking about the 1990s a little bit with my girlfriend and a few other things. Just looking up like some stuff and I mean, so yeah, I mean, there was like I think I did this one time before. I did like 1990s stuff on my YouTube, like that video every day in October thing, which if anybody doesn't know what that is, it's called video, which is video every day in October. Or you can like entitle it anything you want. Like you could do it as like one time I did it as a Netio, which I entitled NASCAR every day in October, which I think was back in 2014 when I did that, or 15, one of them years. I never really did that because I did like do some NASCAR games. I played like a few games on my channel, and I just didn't really continue it after that. Some of my friends did Wetio, like wheel every day in October. One did Jetio, Jeopardy every day in October, and one of my friends did Wetio, which or well, same thing, but it was wrestling every day in October. Like wrestling related. Yeah, but I haven't really done like a video every day in October. I mean, well, because of my busy work schedule usually, and a few other things as well, like spending time with Chris, or that's pretty much about it. Oh my goodness. Hello, Alex. Wow, that's quite a surprise. I mean, good to see you.
Hey.
But yeah, I mean, um, I've been doing like 90s discussion stuff, but like mostly been talking about Jim Carrey, like a lot of his movies, like Dumb and Dumber, The Mask, Liar Liar, you know, all them movies, back in the day, which are still good to watch to this day. I have one of them that's like over here in this bag over here, which is Liar Liar. I don't have Dumb and Dumber yet because I just haven't really gotten it, but eventually. But yeah, I mean, you would always watch them on like VCR players. I mean, and to this day, VCRs are still good to have with a DVD player attached to it as well. Because, you know, everything is good in HD as well, but sometimes watching like classic movies, and I think they do have VCRs that have like a HDMI port, one of those things where you can watch it in high definition. But yeah, I mean, that was mostly like the thing you would do. Like you would watch like VCR tapes or go to the movies and watch them. You didn't have DVDs yet in the 90s, maybe not until like 97 or 98, I think, something like that. And then, of course, you go to Blockbuster and rent them. Blockbuster needs to come back. And I'm pretty serious about that. I mean, um, well, it makes sense to me because of the fact that, you can rent the movie, either well, they don't really do VHSs anymore. They do DVDs and Blu-rays. So you could rent them, and if you like it, you could buy it or whatever. But now it's like all done like you can like stream it or whatever and all that stuff. And to me, streaming is okay. Sometimes it gets laggy depending on your internet, I guess, or something like that. But You didn't really use internet back in the day. I mean, you did have like computers and stuff, like those DOS computers and a few other things, but everything in the 90s was basically done by either driving your car, riding your bicycle, and or skateboarding, any way that you would get around for transportation, you know? You didn't have like what you have like now, like Uber and Lyft and whatever else, that you have now, like to get around. But of course, you had like airplanes, like for transportation as well too. But yeah, and you had like all the classic movies like back in the day. Like Forrest Gump was one of the best movies in the 1990s. It's still a good movie to watch. Like all the movies Tom Hanks did in the 90s, and same with Tim Allen because they also did a very good movie together, and that was Toy Story in 1995. I remember when that movie came out. I never saw it in theaters, but I did own it on VHS. I wanted to on Blu-ray, but I did not. And I wasn't really much of a movie theater person. I mean, I did like it, back in the day, but it wasn't like something I enjoyed doing. I loved to go into Blockbuster. I love renting mostly video games and video games. Sometimes movies, but not really that often. Mostly it'd be like Mighty Morphin Power Ranger tapes, or I really don't think there was anything else. It's mostly it was them, and sometimes Nintendo and Sega games that they had them. But then when we got to like 1997 and 1998, it changed over to PlayStation and Nintendo 64, I believe, which was, I don't know. I mean, because Sega Genesis was a very, very popular system in the 90s. So was Super Nintendo, I think, and Nintendo 64 was. But I mean, I love Nintendo 64 because I owned one, and I think I remember getting it for Christmas, and I like freaked out when I got it. I was like, "Oh my god, it's a Nintendo 64!" And I remember like playing it so often, like playing baseball, wrestling. I mean, another thing is wrestling. WWF Wrestling, one of the best. That I really love watching, and of course, The Undertaker. Being my favorite to watch. There were others like Shawn Michaels was a favorite to watch. Bret Hart was as well, but he wound up leaving WWF in 1997. Hulk Hogan was with WCW around that time, and same with a bunch of others. But yeah, I mean, of course, you had like a lot of the foods as well in the 90s. Like, you had the popular Lunchables, which honestly, they're still good to this day, like to have and all that, but they're not like the way they used to be. Like the nachos, I think were always the best. Then you had like the ham and cheese ones. You put them on a cracker and a piece of cheese and ham, and yeah. And I think you had tacos as well. They had like not only nachos, but they had tacos. Excuse me. And they were actually pretty good. But then you had the Nickelodeon shows. Of course, we can't forget about Nickelodeon. How about like all them popular shows you had in the 90s? Hey Arnold, The Rugrats, Doug. Although there were shows, I wasn't really big on, but they were popular, to kids, like Rocco's Modern Life, which I honestly did not really like. I mean, sorry to anybody that, gets offended by that, but it just wasn't really a show I was really big on. But yeah. Angry Beavers was another one. Yeah, Cat Dog, but that was like later in the 90s, like maybe 1998 or 99 that came around, I think. I think it was 98 or something like that. I don't know. But yeah, the Wild Thornberries, but I think that was like in the late 90s as well. But yeah, the shows that weren't cartoons, like Clarissa Explains It All, and a show called Salute Your Shorts, which I really wasn't big on, but it was a show that was on. I saw like reruns of it. And you had Are You Afraid of the Dark, which another show I wasn't really big on because it just wasn't really a show I like to watch, You had the game shows like Nick Arcade, a popular game show hosted by Phil Moore. Wild and Crazy Kids, in the beginning, Annette Chavez, Omar Gooding, and Donnie Jeffcoat. Then later Jessica Gaines, Omar Gooding, and Donnie Jeffcoat. And they always had guest stars on there, and that was one of my favorites to watch. They always had that on the channel Nick Gas, Games and Sports for Kids, a channel, that was, the people, liked, or, it was just a channel that they had, and you would see like reruns of them shows. Of course, you had Double Dare, but Double Dare, I think, debuted in the 80s, but it was still in the 90s. And you had What Would You Do, a game show that Mark Summers also hosted. But yeah. Of course, the music, like, Michael Jackson, who was one of the biggest music music icons in the 90s. You had Nirvana, one of the biggest bands in the 90s that was, fun to watch. You had Kiss, but Kiss was more like a 70s and 80s group. But in the 90s, they had the reunion tour, like in 1996, something like that, when they came back. Then you had the beginning of the Spice Girls, which honestly, I didn't mind the Spice Girls. They were pretty good. I mean, some people put them down and said they weren't all that great. But honestly, I thought they were pretty good. Then you had the boy bands like the Backstreet Boys. I will admit, I did like them. Their music is actually still pretty good to listen to this day. Yeah, because they had some pretty good songs. NSYNC is another one. I mean, a group, that was pretty good as well, too. Yeah, 98 Degrees. You had those CDs, those, now that's what I call music CDs. Those things were amazing. And the thing is, I think they still make those CDs. I think it's up to like 30 something or whatever, maybe more than that they made now. But you had the bands on there, like all them names from the 90s, from the Now That's What I Call Music series, like Britney Spears is one of them, the Backstreet Boys, Smash Mouth. You had Fat Boy Slim, just a name on there that I heard that was on one of the albums. Limp Bizkit was one of them that was on there. I think that was on the third album. You had Bon Jovi that was on there. One of his songs was on there. It was It's My Life, I believe. Yeah, I think that was from the fifth album, I think. You had Aaron Carter, one of them singers, back in the day that people were pretty big on. Yeah, I mean, there were so many. There really was. And of course, like the way you listen to your music, it would either be by CD or cassette mostly. You didn't really have vinyl record because, I mean, some people probably listened to them a little bit, but mostly it was done by CD and cassette. And I don't think 8 tracks either. And like on your little, oops, hit my microphone, sorry, or like on your little headphones, like with like your little Walkman. But yeah, and of course I mentioned the TV shows, like Nickelodeon, and you also had the other shows on there, like shows that were not, Nickelodeon, but other shows as well, like Roseanne, Home Improvement, Full House is still on. I think you had Beverly Hills 90210 and Melrose Place, like those shows back in the day. And the game shows, like The Price is Right, you still have Bob Barker, Wheel of Fortune with Pat Sajak and Vanna White, Jeopardy with Alex Trebek. I don't think he had the Pyramid with Dick Clark, but he was hosting like the Rockin' New Year's Eve thing, I think, and a couple other things he was doing. You had Supermarket Sweep as well, another popular game show, like many others that were out there. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. Yeah, I mean, all that stuff I mentioned. That's a pretty good amount, I should say. But and the president, of course, in the 90s was Bill Clinton. Well, in 1992, it was still George H.W. Bush. And then you had Bill Clinton. And yeah. Yeah, and let's see here. Yeah, as I said about the movies and all that, and yeah, and another Nickelodeon show, All That, I forgot to mention, was also good, and Keenan and Kel, like those shows that weren't really like cartoon related, and Kablam, a show that people liked as well. Yep. Let's Um, yeah, I said like a good amount of them, but just can't really think of any more like off the bat. I mean, I already said like game shows and all that stuff. Let's see what else we have there. Well, there's not really much to talk about the clothes and stuff because like I don't really like I don't know like what the most popular clothes were like in the 90s. I guess like tennis shoes, maybe like Nike or Adidas or whatever, maybe. And I don't really know what else. I mean, there's probably like I don't know. I mean, that's pretty much about it. But yeah, I think I've said enough. I think I'm gonna wrap it up now. Yeah, I just want to do that little video just for everybody, just about the 1990s, and yeah. So thanks for joining in, everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Like, comment, subscribe, please. Not a bad thing, a good thing. And you all take care. Thanks again for watching.